All right, so I'm going to roll some coils. I've been standing here talking and I've kind of shaped this piece of wet clay into a log kind of shape. But I want to show you how to roll a really nice coil. Some people tend to work a little fast and loose, and you can make a coil and build with coils if you simply do this, right? It's not very pretty. It's the kind of coil I tend to make real fast when I'm not thinking about it, and I can squish this in place real fast. But some people find that method of just squishing it in place to be really annoying, right? Some people like to have a much cleaner, more even piece to work with. They don't like just kind of squishing it into place. So I want to show you how to make a nice coil. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that I've got lots of space cleared off here, at least in front of me. I got a little bit of junk here. But having quite a bit of space here is important for rolling a coil, because you want to use the whole of your hand, and I'm talking your hand and your fingers. You want to use the whole of your hand and fingers, and if you just work like this, it's not going to work. You're going to flatten your coil. So I'm pushing down with my whole hand and rolling this so that the coil rolls all the way around, right? All of its sides are being pressed onto the table. And by rolling with my whole hand, I'm able to get this clay to be nice and even and round. See? Like that. If I just simply, I'm going to pull off this piece that's starting to crack. If I simply work here, like I see a lot of people don't want to move anything off the table and they don't have much space. Or maybe you're working at home and you don't have much space. And what happens is, as you roll like that, you get kind of a flattened effect. With your whole hand, you can make it much more round, much more even. So that then when you're working with these coils, you can actually leave the coil visible. As I go to wrap this, if I don't break it, as I go to wrap this coil around, I can leave those edges visible because I've done a nice job of rolling that coil and making it even. When you go to work with coils like this, you are going to need to score and slip, however. So, excuse me. So after you've made your coil nice and long, or maybe you've gotten yourself a bunch of coils, then you can get a workspace set aside. I recommend you have a board with a piece of paper on it. You can start just with coil, or you can start with a flattened piece of clay. I'm going to make myself a little disc to begin with. I'm going to kind of flatten it out here. Just pinching with my hands. I could also roll a slab if I wanted to. And then it's important to score and slip. So you can use a scoring tool or a knife. I've got a knife handy, so that's what I'm going to use. A fork is good, a comb. If you got a broken comb, that's a nice use for, reusing that tool. A lot of tools that you need to use in the studio you can kind of fake. You can get them another sort of way. So I've got this coil. I'm going to score and slip this edge of the coil. Tedious to watch, eh? This is where you get a fork and you go faster. And then I've got a little bit of liquid slip. This is stoneware slip because I'm working with stoneware clay. And I'm going to paint it on here. If you are at home and you don't have any slip, you can use water. Although what would be better is if you took a little bit of dry clay and put it in that water and then make yourself some slip. So you can never tell me you don't have any slip because you have access to making yourself some. So I'm just kind of wrapping this piece around, and now because I've used scoring and slipping, when I go to lift this up here, it's secure onto there. I mean, I could rip it apart, but gravity is not pulling it apart on me. Anytime I continue to add, though, I want to make sure that I continue to score and slip. So I'm going to score both sides, what I'm adding and what I'm adding it to. Score, score, score. Score, score, score. And then add some slip on those seams. I'm using a little bit thicker slip, just kind of what I had handy. A little bit thinner slip won't squish out the sides as much, won't be as visible. Some people like to use it a little bit more watered down for that reason. But you can see that I'm leaving my coils visible on the side of this pot, as opposed to something like this where I'm trying to smooth those coils away. Thanks.